Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back. If you are returning, welcome. If you are new, for the new people, my name is Jules. I am a commercial food photographer and stylist, and every single Saturday we sit and we chat for an hour and a half as we either plan our week or our month ahead, whatever's happening. You can journal, you can do an art project, whatever. Just an hour and a half to chit chat and be mindful about whatever it is that we're deciding we're going to be mindful about. If you're hopping in the chat or if you're watching, say hi. Yeah, all that awesome stuff. Today, what I'm doing is I am going to be planning my upcoming week. I might. So, this is the second week in a row where energy levels. I mean, I've had a good energy week, but I was relatively busy, and so I didn't get a chance to fill in my time blocks. So, I might have time to go back and fill that in, but we are, where I am, going to be planning my upcoming week, and yeah, maybe doing some backfilling of my time blocks. It's hard to believe that there's only 1 week left in this month. I'm still playing catch up from the 2 weeks that I was on holiday at the end of the month, and taxes are due for us in Canada on Monday, May 2nd, and I still haven't finished all my tax prep to be able to file my business taxes. So it has been, I mean, I have a lot that I have to try and cram into this week. So a lot of what I was hoping to do, like, I still haven't been able to film my Q1 planner review, since, like, to update everybody about what has left and what has come in this month. And I should be getting my copy edits back from my editor this week too. Oh my goodness, that's something. I have to follow up with my. Oh, I need to put that on my list of things to make sure that I put on my weekly to-do list for Monday. Follow up with my editor. With editor on Monday. Yeah. I get also. I get my fourth vaccine this week. RG030 is what I'm looking for. These are the alcohol brush pens. And what did I just say? RG. Something doesn't seem right. 030. There we go. So yeah, I was not expecting to have to do another admin week. I was hoping to do a bunch of shooting of personal projects this week, but it's not going to happen. Yeah, just not going to happen. So, what else? What can I talk about as I'm filling all this stuff out? It's been weird. What did I do this past week? Anything, like, interesting to report on? Like, what did you all do? Last weekend, so it's not really since we spoke last, my partner and I, we binged Center Seat on Crave, and I guess it might be on HBO Max in the USA. I'm not exactly sure where Center Seat is, and it's basically a documentary series about the 55 years of Star Trek. And the one thing that I learned from it is I pretty much know everything there is about Star Trek, which is not surprising. I think I learned one new fact from that series, and I don't even know what that new fact is. Like, I don't remember. So that's a thing. That I wish I had made a note of that new fact, and once I come across it, I mean, I'm almost tempted to re-binge Center Seat just for to remember what the new thing was that I learned. So my priority this week, priority, taxes. I have to get all that done. As much as it is, like, I seem to get like a couple of hours into like organizing purchases and all that other stuff, and then I quickly give up. Oh, hello, Anomic. Thanks for joining again. What are you up to today? Let me know. Are you planning? Are you journaling? I'm doing good. I am doing good. How are you? I'm doing well. I'm doing better today in terms of energy than I was last weekend. And I think we'll talk about that more as I go through and start planning my days. Except for yesterday afternoon, I had to take, like, once I finished lunch, I was done for the day. Yesterday, because last week I got a lot done. So, but I'm good. I have also, so this is, I remember last week I was talking about not being able to see my kids during the pandemic. I mean, they're adults now. And I have grandchildren now. But in May, one of my oldest, I only have one oldest, my oldest, they live, in another province. And so I only get to see them like once a year. And, so they are coming to visit in May, which is nice because normally I see them. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. They texted me this morning to say, hey, we're going to be on the island, in May. So that's good. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm a little stressed. I have to get taxes done this week. And as I was saying, is that I brought this upon myself because normally once a week, normally like Mondays and Fridays are admin days to do like the business stuff you have to do to run a business. But as I was doing the writing for my cookbook and the photography, I kind of dropped the ball on some of the business administrative things, and one of those things that I dropped the ball on was updating my like QuickBooks, and so that taxes would be easy peasy done. So I'm now having to like rectify, like do the balance sheet for all my for my business, so I can get my taxes submitted for this at the end of the month. Yeah, it is something to look forward to. So I'm excited. I have to, yeah. So I'm just planning my week. Monomic they're packing for a trip today, so minimal planning vacation week for me. Oh, where are you going? If that's too like personal and you don't want to like talk about that online, that's fine. Like, but even if it's like somewhere sunny or somewhere like beachy or woodsy or near the ocean, like taxes is stressful. So yeah, where are you going, like, in terms of scenery? I guess is the best way to have that discussion. If you don't want to talk about it, like, in terms, like, being specific, about where you're going. Also, I probably should not talk about this. They may not be happy. But I will just say, it's my partner's birthday on Tuesday. And it is a big milestone birthday, and I'm really excited about it. They're not excited about it, and normally we don't do, like, we're going to the Tennessee mountains. Mountains are always good. Mountains and the woods are my favorite places to go, and I have not been. I've been to where have I been in the United States? I have been to Seattle, Oregon, California, Illinois, Indiana, New York, Virginia. I mean, I could count Idaho, but it's basically like day trips to Idaho, because my aunt lived on a border town between British Columbia and Idaho. So I don't think that counts because I wasn't there. Like, day trips don't count. But yeah, I've not been basically anywhere south. But I like the mountains. The mountains there are. I see pictures of it, and they're so different than the mountains here. I mean, they're flatter, number one, but also just the trees and everything. And you have like the colorful autumn season is so different there because I mean we have a lot of different types of pine trees, fir trees, cedar trees, that kind of yeah, carnivores. I mean, not deciduous. The other types of trees. I cannot do words. What are they today? So yeah, they have a big milestone birthday on Tuesday, and we normally don't do anything for birthdays. I mean, we did stuff for the kids' birthdays as they were growing up and stuff, but birthdays are pretty low key events. And I want to do something, but they're like, no, they don't even want to talk about how old they're getting because they're old. Anomic wants to do more West Coast travel, but they're on the East Coast, so it is more of a hump to make it over there. It is. It's this funny thing that I don't think people. I mean, we in North America understand how big our countries are, but when it comes to is this for real thing that that people like Europeans don't understand. It's like, well, why don't you just go to California for a day trip? Because it's nothing to go like, well, I live in London and I'm going to go up to Scotland for the day, or I'm going to go to France for the day, right? Because everything is like a train trip or a short hour, 2-hour drive away from something. Where here it's one of those things. The only reason why I have been on the Midwest and East Coast of the United States is East Coast was for business. My partner's American and we have family. His family lives in Virginia, so that's why New York was for business, and the Midwest was visiting friends, and then the West Coast, I mean, it's nothing to drive on the West, even though it will take a day, but it's easier, right, to visit within your area. Yeah, if we had high-speed trains, yeah, it would be awesome. If we had high-speed trains, I would be traveling all over the place, I think. Once it's safer to travel. I still do not trust travel. I'm trying to figure out what other deadlines I have this week. I don't really have any deadline. I just have, I have, I don't think I thought about that properly. I get my booster shot on Friday, but I also have to do grocery shopping, even though it's online. You live in Virginia? Yeah, so my partner, Nova, and so I haven't really been outside of the DC, Fairfax, Herndon area. Like, that's my, and I was in Baltimore, like in Maryland for a day because a friend of mine works at Goddard, and so I got to have a tour of Goddard one day. So I technically Maryland. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm not quite. I want to say Maryland, but that's not. There's a way that Americans pronounce it that is not quite. Anyway, so yeah, that's another. But does that count? Does like taking a day trip count as visiting the state when it's like just going to have a specific thing? Oh, another thing that I have happening this week that I'm super excited about. is, so we have, and how to explain this. We have, yes, it's all of that is close together. Yeah. So yeah, going to DC, going to Maryland, like when you're going from Fairfax County, like anywhere in Fairfax County to DC or like it's all basically the same place. So does it really count as traveling is to those places is my question. What is it called? The Beltway? Is that what that whole area? I think I should know this, but one of my here's, I mean, we have this thing where like Canadians have kooky sayings, and so do Americans, right? We have regionalisms. We have things that we say that are like delightful, and they're hilarious, and the thing that my partner taught me that is very much a Virginia thing is the saying that don't make no never mind. And every time, I mean, it took me a while to understand when it is like the DMV area, yeah, the Beltway. So yeah, it's DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Yeah, that's what that's DMV. I see. Here's a funny thing about that, because I've heard people talk about it as the DMV area, but I've never put it in my brain until you just spelled it out, that stands for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. How ridiculous. I mean, the simplest things my autistic brain will not piece together, but if it's complicated, I understand it in no time flat. But yeah, so that don't make no never mind is one of the things that it took me forever to understand when it is the appropriate time, like the context that it works in. Like I understand, but it's one of those things that slip into my vernacular every now and then. And when it does, Americans that I speak with, because I know I'm Canadian and I have a lot of Canadianisms. Some time ago, I wrote an article about Canadian English that made the national news headlines. It was about like the huge differences between Canadian English and American English. And Anomic says that they hear that don't make no never mind saying all the time. It's a thing, and it's very specific. And so it's when I say it to Americans, they're like, "How do you even know that?" And I'm like, "Because it doesn't matter to me." Yeah, is what it boils down. Exactly. So it's like it can go. It's one of those things. Okay, so here's a kind of equivalent, a near equivalent. In Canada, we have this saying that is "fill your boots." So if somebody is like, may I do something, or they're wanting permission for something, or they're not quite sure if they should do something, the response is fill your boots. And it means like, yeah, do whatever makes you happy, whatever floats your boat. That don't make no never mind. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Do it. Have fun. But with fill your boots, it has that added, like, have fun doing it, because apparently filling your boots with stuff is fun. I mean, there's something joyful about fill your boots. When you're telling somebody to fill your boots, you're telling them to do the thing that is going to make them happy, but like do it joyfully is basically what fill your boots means. So, like, yeah, go have at her. Process, schedule, yeah. So here's a funny-ish story. I'm not really quite sure if it's funny. It's also a little bit annoying. But it's the differences between, I used to do a radio show, and I used to interview, like, people who work in geeky entertainment. And so I was interviewing one person they were from northern New York State. And every time I would say about they would count it and they would laugh. And it was kind of rude because I wasn't making no comments about their accent, but they're like, "Ooh, it's so funny when you say a boot." And I had to get annoyed. I'm like, I don't say a boot because I'm not from Newfoundland or from the Maritimes. And that's basically where a boot is. In the rest of Canada, we say a boat. Like if I was really going to accentuate that accent, it's a boat or a boot, if only if you're in the Maritimes or in Newfoundland. But the rest of us, we say a boat. But not like so clearly. But yeah, I the process, schedule, there's a few others that are very distinctly Canadian, and I am finding though with the Canadian accent, because as streaming services proliferate culture, I guess is the way to say it. The American accent is starting to creep more into younger Canadians speaking. So some of them more are like saying process instead of process. And so I always, especially people who live in Southern Ontario, their accents are starting to be more Americanized, as because when I was growing up, and when up until very recently, most of the media that Canadians consumed was Canadian Canadian made. Getting American media was not, like, even our commercials are very different. So like when we're watching American television shows, Canadian commercials are what streams in between. So our accents and certain like Canadian English things stayed pretty strong in our culture, in our speaking, but that's changing now. As I mean, there's even, I see younger Canadians dropping the U in words like color, honor, flavor, favor, all those words where America is like, we're gonna get rid of the U. So yeah, it's interesting to see, and I enjoy those differences. And that was the whole thing with the Canadianisms is, the reason why I wrote the article is because I didn't understand how different our everyday English is until I started my relationship with my partner over a decade ago now. And I would speak and I would say things, and they would look at me like I had to, like I was literally speaking some foreign language from another planet. Yeah, professional. Yeah, so professional. Yeah, so process is interesting to me. This is economic. Process is interesting to them because they think Americans say it wrong. They say professional and other pro words. The Canadian, yeah, so professional. But I've also heard some Americans say professional, which I think that might be an area, because America has lots of different accents, just like Canadians do, obviously. Every country has different accents. But yeah, the process is one of those things that whenever I hear an American, I'm like, I don't understand where the differentiation is between the pra and the pro. But yeah, so the reason why I got really into the differences between Canadian and American English is because I would say things and my partner would be like, what on earth are you saying? Like, that makes no sense to me. You need to translate this for me. So, if you search like Canadianisms, the Geek Dad link, it's probably like the first or second result. And that's my thing. And I surveyed a bunch of Americans, Canadians, and then people in other Commonwealth countries about the degrees to which they are familiar with certain words. Like, another interesting difference to me is that the word candy bar is not something that we say in Canada. It's chocolate bars. If there's, like, even if it's chocolate covered, anything that's in a bar that is covered in chocolate or purely chocolate, that is a chocolate bar. Where in America, that is a candy bar. And there are some Americans who are completely unfamiliar with the term chocolate bar, which I found absolutely fascinating. Another really fascinating difference to me is the tea towel. You all don't know what tea towel is. And tea towel, washcloth, dishcloth, face cloth are all different things. And a tea towel is, I think, what you guys call a dishcloth. It's the towel that you use to dry dishes with or use to wipe your hands in the kitchen that's not wet. It's the big one, is what a tea towel is. A washcloth is we call a face cloth, but you all call it a face cloth. That's the one that you use when you're showering or in the bathroom, and that one is what we call a dishcloth, is because you use it to wash your dishes. So it's just fascinating to me those differences that are the same. Yeah, they're same but different. So. Yeah. They say, you say chocolate bar. Anomik is saying that they say chocolate bar for things that are solid chocolate, like Hershey's. And I know some people, it's like the whole thing, like in the South, like all pop is called Coke, even if it's not Coke. There's like that same difference within the United States, that there's some areas that call all chocolate bars, like the solid chocolate bars, Hershey's, after the brand, just like Kleenex instead of tissue paper. Most call it dish towel. It's just those things like that. And tea towel is a very British, like that comes from our British roots. And there's parts of me that think that that all y'all, as it says, parts of America, is like there's part of me that thinks that when America decided that they were no longer going to be part of the Commonwealth, when you all had your War of Independence, which is taught as a civil war in Commonwealth countries, it's like you all decided, okay, we need to figure out ways that we are going to get rid of British influences, and so you decided to come up with goofy, like even English grammar is different between America and the rest of English-speaking countries, and it's just, to me, I think, like, you know what, we need to stop being English, so we're going to change these things randomly. Is my theory, working theory. So Anomik is saying that soda, pop, soft drink is a whole other thing. And here in Canada, we just call it pop. And another thing that I found fascinating is when I went to New York. Oh, another interesting difference is washroom versus bathroom. So washroom is a public restroom, and the bathroom is in the house. So I went to New York and I asked somebody where the washroom was, and they looked at me like I had 10 heads, and I didn't know at the time that you all called washrooms restrooms. And I'm like, where's the toilet? I need to use the toilet. And that's how I had to have the wait staff yes, the U.S. purposely dropped Britishisms. So I had to ask, like, where's the room with your toilet in it? Because they didn't understand what I was saying when I was asking where's the washroom. And then another thing that is completely different. So I ordered a Coke, and I hate Pepsi. I will not drink Pepsi. And I know that, like, I can taste the difference distinctly. And I asked for a Coke, and they are like, okay, cool, we will give you a Coke. And when it arrived, it was a Pepsi, and I'm like, this is gross. I did not order a Coke, I ordered a Pepsi. I didn't order a Pepsi, I ordered a Coke. And they just thought I wouldn't know. I need to pee, help me. Exactly, Anomic. That's basically what it will. I need to use your facilities. But yeah, in Canada, you cannot serve, like, if somebody orders a Coke, you cannot just serve them a Pepsi. You have to, like, say, we don't serve Coke here. We do serve Pepsi or Pepsi products, and here are your options. You cannot just surprise somebody with a Pepsi when they ordered a Coke. And it was a very weird experience being served something that I did not order. without it being disclosed beforehand. They just served, that was another weird, interesting difference between the two countries. Like, small cultural things. Like, it's funny, people who are familiar, it's like Canada, and we have, in a lot of ways, we share some things in our culture, but there's like these small little differences that really like highlight the fact that we are very, very different in our cultures while also being the same. It's just that little tweak. So it's fascinating to me. So Anomic is saying that people have strong lines on Coke or Pepsi side. My mom gets so sad when they don't have Pepsi. Yeah, and for me, it's completely about flavor and not so much about the companies. For a lot of people, it's brand loyalty, but for me, Pepsi is too sweet, and Coke has a bite to it that is missing in Pepsi. So for me, it's very much about the flavor, but for other people, it is very much about the brand, and they don't understand, like, they don't taste the differences. But I have a sensitive palate. But the whole, I went off on a tangent there, but a thing that I have happening this week that is like, that I'm really looking forward to on Tuesday. So we have, and I'm going to try and explain this so it makes sense. Throughout the province of BC, we have these things that are called food hubs, and they're partly funded by the provincial government. So Anomic can taste the difference as well. So the food hubs, they're partially funded by the provincial government, and it's basically, and it got more, there was more impetus to get them up and going during some huge natural disasters that we've had in the province that have literally cut our like highways and railways and everything completely washed away, and no way to deliver food and supplies, and we have a lot of agriculture in the province. So to become more reliant on local food supplies and local supplies chains, the provincial government decided that they're going to set up food hubs throughout the province for things like local processing of locally grown, caught, produced foods, and to be able to distribute it both locally and to stores like that are like local chains to national chains to also help with exporting to international chains. And here where I live, we being like the organizing, got funding to set up a food hub here that will be processing like locally farmed goods, and anywhere on the island can basically use this food hub to process their farmed goods or beverages to get to the customer. Up island, they just opened up a food hub specifically for processing of fish and seafood and other things, because that's it. So there'll now be 2 food hubs on the island, which is it's a hub for processing food. And my business is going to be a part of it. I'm going to be not only using the kitchen facilities for processing like my own recipe development, but also they want me to help them set up some programming, either cooking classes. So Anomic is saying that they have food deserts, and a food hub would be a great solution to those areas, and that's the same issue. Like that's the same part of the thing that's tackling. So here's a interesting, I was gonna say fun fact, but it's not fun. A fact about where I live is highly agriculture. Lots of dairy, lots of farms, So much food is grown and produced where I live. However, over 25% of oh, my dog's barking. Okay, hold on. Sorry, Archer. He's fine. My cat is irritating one of my dogs. And so, sorry about that. And now my dog's underneath the microphone. And so you might hear him being very grumpy. I am sorry about that. So yeah, so despite being in a heavy agriculture area, over 25% of people here experience food insecurity and have problems accessing affordable food and culturally appropriate foods. And I did that too long. I will fix that. No big deal. So we're working, a bunch of us together, like farmers, cooperatives, coming up with solutions to solve both like the issues with people being able to access culturally appropriate foods, solving food insecurity, being able to get local foods to market, because there's like this big, huge supply chain problem, local farmers, small farmers being able to get in big stores. So that's basically what the food hub is. And so I am, we've just got the construction schedule. It's supposed to be open in September, in the fall, barring any disruptions with construction because of COVID outbreaks and all that other stuff. Because we are still in a pandemic, despite what people want to think. Anyways, on Tuesday, I have a meeting to basically work through like different programming, like having cooking classes based on my cookbook, offering like group food photography packages for clients. What else? I mean, there's a few things. So I'm meeting on Tuesday. I think I'm gonna make this meeting 2 hours. Actually, we don't have a set time. So, anyways, I have a meeting on Tuesday to that bled through. Look at how this bleeds. I mean, it's not even ghosting. That's full on bleeding. I'll fix it afterwards. To go over and just to figure out programming to what we can do. They also want to, because there's going to be a big, huge warehouse, a food warehouse, that's going to be part of the hub. And so they want to host a book launch party there as well. And so we're going to be discussing that. Anyways, but I am looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to coming up with programming that is like teaching people about different, like, we don't know how it's gonna look yet, but that's what that meeting is about. And decompress, what's the word I'm looking for? Decompress. So that's this week, and I'm looking forward to that. Okay, my dog is now settled beside me. He had his freak out. So so I have 2 beagles and 2 cats. And the dog that just got upset, that's Archer, and his registered name is Captain Jonathan Archer. And if you're a Star Trek fan, you know what that is all about. And he has a cat, and they are cat. I mean, they are each other's animals. And his name is Porthos. And if you're a fan of Star Trek Enterprise, you know that Captain Jonathan Archer had a beagle named Porthos, and our dogs are beagles. Just to add that that little bit of whatever. I'm trying to figure out what time my appointment is. Okay, so that's not happening on that day. It's at 2 o'clock. They love each other. They play with each other all the time. But Porthos also likes to do this thing where he likes to sneak attack Archer instead of, like, they play tug of war. Porthos thinks he's one of the dogs. We have another dog, Ziggy, whose registered name is Ziggy Stardust, and he has a cat named Hero, as in, like, they could be the song Heroes by David Bowie. We're a little bit of nerds if you haven't told or haven't figured that out already. So anyways, because Porthos sometimes likes to sneak attack Archer when he's sleeping, he has a little bit of anxiety and trauma around that. And so anytime Porthos gets too close to Archer when he's sleeping, and makes Archer aware of it, Archer gets his, like, he barks and he goes away. He gets upset because he's worried, rightfully, that Porthos is going to sneak attack him. And it's really hilarious. But it's also really, I mean, it's funny to watch the dynamic. And it's really good that Archer knows to, like, remove himself from the situation, because with some dogs, it would not go well. But, yeah. So that's what that was all about. Porthos was clawing at the couch, like, pawing at it, too close to Archer while he was sleeping. And so now he's on a blanket beside me. So at the nighttime, Anomic is asking if he is in a crate when he's sleeping. So at night, our beagles are litter mates. They're brothers. And they have slept in, we have a big, huge, like, kennel that is, like, the size for a husky or a medium-sized dog that they share together when they're sleeping, and they eat in their kennels, and they sleep at night in their kennels overnight, and they love their crates. They're crate trained. When we have to go to the store, they are in their crates. It's when we have to do things. Yeah. So they're crate trained. They love their crates. When Archer is anxious, he will go. So they have, they have their sleeping crate and they have their cool down crate if they get too hot or overheated, or if they're anxious. They use their crates for different purposes. And so, but during the day, when they're sleeping, they normally sleep on the couch, or they sleep sprawled out on a blanket on the floor, or whatever. And they all sleep, like, I have pictures of, I wonder if I can find it easily, of, like, the dogs and the cats will sleep together as a pile. I'm going to see if I can find an image. Okay, yeah. So this is an example of, so that's Porthos and that's Archer. And it's kind of, my camera like blows it out a bit to highlight. It's not that bright in reality, but this is like, you can see their relationship. They are each other's cats and dogs, but you know how all siblings fight, like, tease each other? That's what happens in this circumstance as well. Will the cat bother him in the crate or just when he's out in the open? Sometimes he will also bother him in the crate. And, like, he will get on top of the crate and then paw through. He'll put his paw from the top of the crate through the holes in the crate to kind of tease him. It's intentional. This is what Porthos does when he wants to play, is he will try and get the dogs to play. Just like, you know how dogs do the down, like, the bow play stomp thing. It's basically the equivalent to that. Like, it's not malicious. It's play aggression is the technical term for it, even though I don't like the term play aggression, because aggression means malice, and it's not malicious. It's come on, let's play. I'm in a playful mood. I mean, Archer does it to Porthos as well. He will walk right up to Porthos and start barking really loud in Porthos's face, and it says "Let's play" bark. You know how dogs have different vocalizations, and the cat just, like, sits there and takes this really loud, buoyant dog and doesn't lash out. And sometimes he will flop on the ground and, like, show his stomach, and he's like, you know what, dude, you do not bother me, and no, I don't want to play right now. So, but it's just one of those things that sometimes. Okay, I'm trying really hard not to laugh here, because so TikTok, my TikTok algorithm is. Oh, okay, I'm gonna try and breathe here because I'm remembering I'm I'm remembering things. So practical jokes are evil and are cruel, and we do not do them in my house. That said, I really like the reaction when people get startled, like the jump scare. And I'm a very, like, I move through the world very light on my feet, and people do not hear me coming, and they get startled, and it cracks me up to no end. And it is, there's a lot of pranks on TikTok that are all about the jump scare, and they kill me. They absolutely kill me. And because TikTok is really good at figuring out what you like, they show me over and over again. But basically, watching Porthos go after Archer, it's the same mechanism. It's like he's trying to get that and you can tell, right? You can tell that he is trying to get that jump scare reaction out of Archer, and Archer just wants, like, he just wants to be loved. He doesn't want to be scared. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, the jump scares, I mean, they're hilarious, and they're not really all that malicious. There's just something, there's something about people's reactions that kills me. Like, just slays me to no end. One of my favorites, and every time we're not amused with something now, we use this. One of my favorites, and I wish you could, like, just search based off of, like, the text that's in these videos, is, so it's late at night, and the husband is coming outside through the sliding glass door. It's dark out, and you can see his partner against the wall, and he steps out, and she says something, and he, like, startles, and then he says very quietly, "It is the night. It is the night time. It is the night." Like, why are you doing this? Why are you scaring me? It is the night. You know how some people, like, they just, the reaction is hilarious. So anytime, like, we cannot be, anytime we're overstimulated, or we cannot deal with what is going on in our environment, and we need a break, that has now become, like, a thing between my partner and I, is we will say, "It is the night." Like, knock it off. You're overstimulating me. It is the night. Be quiet. But that's basically, like, Archer's reaction to Porthos. This is what I have, like, the same. It is the night. Like, leave me alone. And oh my god, the newest thing on TikTok, and I wish I could do it to my partner, but they would not be impressed about it, even though they would laugh about it afterwards. There's this new meme where I okay, hold on. I'm gonna try and compose myself. Hold on, please. I'm sorry. Oh my god, it started, but that's what it is. I get tears down my face. I have tears down my face right now trying to tell you about my new favorite meme. Oh my god. Autistic joy is the best joy, let me tell you. Anyways. Oh, okay, hold on. The new meme is you are calm and you're collected and you're just going normal business, and your partner is near you or beside you, and you just suddenly, like, just freak out. You act like there is something wrong, and your partner all of a sudden starts freaking out beside you. And the more you freak out, the more your partner reacts and freaks out. And like sometimes the partner like ends up running into the wall because they're so scared and freaked out because they don't know. But nothing's happening. I mean, there's nothing happening wrong, and it's just so funny, and I wish I could do it to my partner. But he would. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's just too funny. It's just too funny, and I wonder if I have my likes, if I can pull it up on TikTok just to show an example. Okay, well, hold on. So Anomik is like, I wouldn't be able to pull it off because you would be laughing at his anticipation. Exactly. That's one of the reasons. Because even like just the thought of it, just the thought of it, and I literally have tears running down my face right now just thinking about it, and I'm gonna see. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I like can go into my likes on TikTok to see. There has to be a way to go into your likes. Nope. Oh, yep. Hold on. Here's my likes. Let me just. 1 second. 1 second. This is going to be worth it if I can find it. I mean, all of this is mostly like people scaring other people with just like ridiculous things. Hold on. Okay. Oh shoot. There's another one. There's another one where there are these siblings and they like taste sour things, and the reaction from the sibling, the sister, cannot deal with the sour stuff, and her facial expressions are. I'm just trying to hold on here. Okay, I'm gonna see if this works, but it might not. It might not.
You guys just give me the twitch doing that.
Hold on. This is the siblings one.
Full lemon today, but eating a lemon like mine. Just please try and spill it out.
Just.
Like that, yeah.
Mommy.
Let's go. Not that bad. It's not that bad.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cut my lip. I've never been in that.
It's not that bad, eh?
Okay. I need to find an here. Here we go. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. Whoops.
Hey, I brought the papers from work.
Oh my god,
Oh my god. And there's this there's one of those where it's the partner that's doing the scaring is in the front and the one's in the back, and they're like, it looks like they're about to go to the couch with popcorn and snacks to watch a movie, and there's like a staircase to the left, and they're walking out, and she does the freak out, and like he like throws the popcorn up in the air, and there's popcorn everywhere, and he falls into the stairwell. And anyways, so my feed is a lot of It's a lot of that right now. And it is basically, that's what my cats and my dogs do to each other. It's when it boils down to, oh, it just brings me so much pleasure to watch that. And I wish I would be able to pull that off without freaking out my partner. It would be, I mean, without like tipping off. That's what, because I like, yeah, as you said, and I'm like, I cannot even think about it without completely cracking up and dying. It's just so good. And then there's another one. So good. Like, it's perfect. Because, I mean, normally pranks are mean. I mean, they're not, but this one it's not really so much malicious. I mean, there's ones like at the workplace where they will like do the air horns and stuff like that, and the air horn one is, as much as I laugh at it, there's a little bit of maliciousness behind the air horn one. Oh gosh, the one where you just freak out, like it's too good. It is too good. I think I did that the wrong time. No, I did not. Huh. Am I? Nope. I did do it the wrong time. That's fine. I can move it up. Not a big deal. Oh. So, that is, I want to do that. That's my cat. That's the relationship, though, between the cats and the dogs. What else? There was something else that we watched this past week that I wanted to talk about. Oh, yes. Okay. So on Monday. And here's the thing. So here's another thing. Like, growing up in Canada, we don't have like TV evangelicalists. Is that what it's called? Like the television preachers. Like 100 Huntley Street, I think, is one of the ones, or the, what was it called, the 700 Club. I heard about them growing up, but it's an American thing. It is solely an American thing. And so we never had the channels. I don't even know how I'd hear them. I think like Tammy Faye Baker and Jim Baker, I think I heard about growing up just because they would be on the tabloid media that my mom used to watch. Like, she would watch things like Inside Edition or 60 Minutes and stuff like that. And my mom loved she loved her tabloids and tabloid television. But I always, because of tabloid, evangelicals. Okay, thank you. We have evangelicals as a religion, but we don't have like the we don't have like the call and give us your money on TV type of evangelicals. So we watched The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and wow, did life do her a huge dirty and a huge disservice. What is it on? I think The Eyes of Tammy Faye is on Disney, I want to say. Could be wrong. On Disney Plus. So Anamit grew up in New York, so they didn't experience them until later in life. So where I live in like British Columbia, I mean, we have people of faith, but like 75% of British Columbians identify as agnostic or atheist. So religion is a very small part of my upbringing. In that way, right? We don't have open. I mean, I know a lot of people of faith, but that type of it's just culturally different. But I did learn about Tammy Faye, and I mean I was aware of Tammy Faye, but because of the scandal around Jim, I mean you just automatically assume that Tammy Faye, if you didn't know about her, right? If you didn't watch her walking in pride parades and her having people who were infected with AIDS, and when that, like, despite everyone else, like, she was so pro LGBTQ. She even had like penile implants and pumps on her when she was having. She really believed, like, she was actually preached the gospel of love everybody. I mean, just love people and accept them. And God, like, she even said once at this like evangelical lunch thing with all those big huge preachers, like, you know what, I don't think God made these people wrong, and he made everybody perfect, and there's a reason why there's gay people, and we should just love them and embrace them. And I did not know this about her, and I just feel like when I first started to watch it, because like my partner grew up in America, and he's more well acquainted with that culture just because of his growing up in America. And so he was a little bit, he's like, why are you watching that? I don't want to watch bad people on a documentary. But he was also, it's just one of those things where, wow, I mean, it's really, is upsetting the right word? I think I am upset about it, actually. It's a fairness thing that she was painted with a very bad brush because her husband was a dick. to be nice about it. He was not nice to her. And I mean it all started off well and good. Their relationship seemed like it was nice. And then it was not. And I just feel that she has a bad reputation. She's guilty by association, despite the fact that she was radical. She was absolutely radical. And so if you haven't watched The Eyes of Tammy Faye, I recommend you do so. And it's when, you know how sometimes when they do these type of like documentary biographical TV shows, they like to fictionalize things or like try and make somebody who was horrible better than they actually were, redeeming them. I guess that's the word, like in ways that are inappropriate. I decided that so Namek is saying that I think we assume that most believe certain things based on the overall culture, and that they also didn't know the stuff about her. Yeah, I mean, we do that. We absolutely do that. There is a perception of it's the whole guilty by association thing. But one of the things that I decided to research, because there are like creative license. It's like we're watching Inventing Anna and Chandra. Like there's the whole thing. Everything in this series is real except for the parts that are not. Like it's highly fictionalized, the Inventing Anna, when there didn't need to be any fictionalization of that. So I decided to research the stuff that they say both about Tammy Faye and Jem in The Eyes of Tammy Faye. And it is pretty much 100% accurate. And which was a refreshing thing. But, I mean, yeah, she was an amazing person. She did a lot for gay rights and to raise HIV awareness. And she pushed back a lot against fellow evangelicals. And I just think everybody needs to know that about her. Especially because her legacy was overshadowed by Jim, who is apparently a really horrible person now and still alive, and she's not. And maybe I should not be saying this, but I'm going to. It's too bad it's not the other way around, because I mean, I don't think she did not get a fair shake. Yeah. I'm looking for GG020. So, that's the thing I highly recommend, regardless of what type of shows you like. That was a thing that I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of. So we were watching. Nomic is saying that I keep surprising them. First with the info about Julia Child, and now Tammy Faye. Yeah, so I'm glad you're saying that, because I love, like, after Star Trek and science fiction documentaries, especially about people. I mean, I love nonfiction. When it comes to reading, I read more nonfiction than I do fiction, and a lot of, like, just, I like that type of stuff. So I watch a lot of series and stuff about people. I mean, especially about people who have had a big impact on society and culture, because, like, there is absolutely no mistake about it. Evangelicalism, especially right now, has had a not so great effect. And the evangelicals listening to this, or if you're subscribed to me, you're probably learning that I'm not the person you're going to be wanting to subscribe to if you haven't figured that out already. I mean, yeah, it's... Evangelicalism has and continues to cause harm. And there's just stuff happening right now, and a whole bunch of laws being enacted that are very, very harmful and very, very discriminatory and are going to get people killed. And so with things like, I'm the type of person, I like to understand whether I agree with the person or not. I like to understand. So I have my degree in psychology, and it's one that's, like, I'm fascinated by, like, the whole psychology behind people and what makes them tick. And I like to understand what circumstances creates the people that have had these, I don't understand the hate either. Nomics is saying they just don't understand the hate. I'm perfectly fine with people of faith. I mean, I have my own faith. I don't talk about it. Don't understand the hate when religion's supposed to be based on love. Exactly. So, like, I had heard about the prosperity gospel vaguely on social media. People talk about it, but I didn't understand it until watching The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Finally, there's a... they're basically being taught the prosperity gospel, and at one point and this is another assumption, because Jim was very much part of that. Like, if you are poor, it is because you are a bad person, and if you are good, the more righteous you are, the more God's going to reward you with money and things, and they deserve to be rich, right? And I didn't quite understand how it started, how it played out, and they actually, like, a Bible school college that they went to are teaching it, like, the base, and I finally understood that. Like, I don't agree, but I understood where it comes from. But there's one point to that Jim is basically talking about how poor people and people whose circumstances are poor, it is ridiculous. They've brought it up, it's God's punishment. And again, that was something that Tammy Faye, being part of the being a beneficiary of the prosperity gospel, she's like, well, I don't agree with that, Jim. I mean, I grew up poor. I come from very poor. I come from very not good circumstances, and I'm a good person. I did not ask for that, and I believe that God loves me no matter, like, just as equally as the rich people. So I don't agree with you, and that's another place where she pushed back. And the really sad thing about it is, like, she benefited from the like, she had her fur coats and her diamonds and her mansions and her staff and all that other stuff. But the thing that she did not know was how she didn't know that Jim was doing embezzling and wire fraud and stuff like that. Like, she just thought that, like, she honestly, earnestly, because she was so, I don't want to say Pollyanna, but she just loved people so much, and she just automatically assumed the best out of every circumstance. Like, when the Jim Baker empire fell, she was caught completely off guard. And that's why, and I think maybe some people, like, I never understood, because I didn't know the story, I never understood why she didn't go to jail when Jim, like, why wasn't she put on trial? And you understand very, very clearly why she was never put on trial, because she was very much a victim in the same way as other people were victims. And it was just, it also went into her drug addiction and how that came about, how it was basically like, yeah, doctors, like, oh, you just need to rest, you're being hysterical, let me give you this medication. Misogyny made her created, like, got her addicted to different medications. It was because of misogyny. And how dare she have emotions about her husband cheating on her. That's basically, I mean, she had Jim, became upset after giving birth to the child, and, like, really upset because of something that Jim did to her, rightfully, and she was gaslit into believing that she was overreacting and being an overly emotional woman, and she needed to be medicated into placidness. Horrible, horrible stuff. But it was very common. I mean, morphine, she was like, it was benzos and Ativan and other things like that. But it's this whole thing in history. Oh, you have an emotion, the over emotional housewife trope, and let's turn you into a morphine or a heroin addict because you are having emotions. Yes, the craziness of the society, very much so, is okay. So, I got time to tell the story. So I watched Jackson Galaxy, the Cat Daddy, My Cat from Hell, and he has some other TV shows that I really, really like. And today he, before you forget to ask, okay, ask away. I'll tell my Jackson Galaxy story afterwards about grief and the craziness of society and how we're not allowed to grieve, in Western society, where those of us who come from, what am I having for dinner? Oh, so tonight, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to have for dinner. What are you having for dinner, Anomik? So, lately, like, I have a pantry full of canned, like, pressure jarred food, at all times. You need some ideas. Okay, so, do you know what? I don't know. How are you for, okay, I'm gonna plug my own website in a moment. How are you? Do you have an Instapot? Number one is my first question, or a Ninja pressure cooker like the Foodie. Because, and if you have chicken, and if you like somewhat spicy foods, then I would suggest, like, doing a chicken korma for dinner. I might actually make myself that, but I also, so my cooking website, disabledkitchenandgarden.ca, things I would pull from my pantry right now is either chicken soup or chicken stew, and then I would have, like, grilled cheese sandwich or something with that, because a big bowl of soup is surprisingly, like, actually, I mean, it's very nutrient dense, but no calories. So you have to have something like a grilled cheese sandwich with it, which is just good. Or I would be Yes, you have a stovetop pressure cooker. Oh, you need to get yourself an Instapot. I mean, stovetop pressure cookers are great, and it's basically the same cooking times as an Instapot. You just need to know that how many pounds under pressure, which is 15 pounds under pressure, based off of altitude. For most of my recipes is what you would cook them at. Same cook times, but 15 pounds of pressure for a high pressure. Cook at high pressure, and low pressure is 11 pounds of pressure. For if you're ever curious about how to convert an Instapot recipe to a stovetop pressure cooker recipe for people who don't know. But today I think I am craving like something like soup and sandwiches would be what I'm reaching for today for dinner. I increased my exercise schedule to 5 times a week instead of 4 because 4 times wasn't satisfying. I get doing exercise is one of my is stimming. So I've been my body has 1 day a week where it kind of basically shuts down where today is my shutdown day. My trying to getting my heart rate over 75 beats a minute has been impossible. My body is it's hibernating. It does that once a week. It has a day where it just hibernates. And on hibernation days, I'm like soup sandwich. I like chicken soup. I like turkey stews or soups or stews. It's really just have to thicken it up to make the gravy for a stew. Hamburger stew would be something also would reach for today. Just ground beef, potatoes, carrots, green beans, break up sauteed onions. Chicken korma sounds good. Yeah, so I have a really good chicken korma recipe, not to boast, on my website if you're looking for something that you would like to have but chicken korma if I was doing something awesome. Yeah. So there's stuff there, but chicken korma is something that I would reach for if my body was not hibernating. And if it was, but hibernation mode, it's like soup and sandwiches. What that soup is, or a stew and sandwich would be my go-to. And that's probably what I'm going to do now for dinner. So we're talking about society and just how people are shamed into so in non-Western countries you are basically told to get over your grief, where in Eastern European countries and Asian countries and Middle Eastern countries, basically anywhere that's not white Western European, grief is a thing that is a year-long process. You wear specific clothing to signal that you are grieving so that people, your community, everybody will help you out and allow you to grieve. And so that's basically the same thing that is responsible for a lot of the mental health crises in Western European, Western countries, North American countries, is the fact that we are not allowed to live in our emotions. And there's actually more studies coming about this now, that if you spend time actually living in your emotions, you are less likely to develop post-traumatic stress, and you're less likely to develop situational mental health episodes of depression or anxiety or whatever, because you're given the space in the room to process your feelings and to acknowledge them. When you push them aside, and that's when addiction, self-medication, mental health issues become pathology. That's why we have so much higher rates of mental health crises here, is because society, we're shamed for being human, which is a whole bunch of baloney. I need to show you all an image. So I have coming up on my cooking website soon, I have a blueberry pie recipe. Yeah, we're told to get over it, exactly. An air fryer blueberry pie recipe. And did I download it already? No, I did not. Hold on. So, because this coming Thursday, food day is blueberry pies. And there's sometimes I take images. Let's see. That I just really love. And I can't wait to add to my journal. Is it in here? Oh, I gotta wait for my OneDrive to sync. But oh yeah, here we go. Here, this is an image I took this week that I'm just really. I don't like the way the camera, because it does the automatic exposure. It's blowing out the highlights and everything. But this is a recipe that's an air fryer pie recipe that's going up on my site this week that I'm very, very much looking forward to sharing, just because it's just, I love pie. I love pie. I don't eat a lot of it. But that's I'm back to, well, I wait for my coffee edits from my editor, which are hopefully coming this week. But I have so much I have to do this week. Oh, and then I'm stressing out a little bit about it. Because I don't know what happened with April. Where did it go? I'm still, I have so many things so I still didn't finish. I have to try and film. Oh, thank you. Anomic's saying the image looks great. It tastes delicious. The thing that I like about it, so I mean, it's not revolutionary so much as in the ingredients for the pie. I mean, a pie is a pie. The pie recipes go back for a million years. But the thing that I love about air fryers, instead of waiting for an hour or 45 minutes to an hour for it to bake, it's 10-15 minutes to bake a pie from scratch. So I'm looking forward to sharing that, because it's pie, if you want to, if you're doing the crust and everything, I mean, it takes a moment. It takes a moment to make. For everything from rolling it to, then you have to wait for it to bake, and then you have to wait for it to cool. But yeah, this week I didn't finish I didn't film my quarter one review. I have to follow up with my editor. Let's do some to-do list stuff. And I feel like I have a deadline for this week that I didn't put in. I have to schedule my May live streams. So that is, I already did that to-do list. Let's do my to-do list for Friday. I had some things before I forget. So this is, nope, that's too late. Let's go with N75. So Anomic recently got an air fryer and have been coming up with excuses to use it. That's one of the things where, so I have a few air fryers, which may sound excessive, but when you're a recipe developer, you need to have different versions of it, so I have to test my recipes across multiple appliances, that's the word I'm looking for, multiple appliances, to make sure that most people can use them regardless of what type of air fryer they have in their homes. I find that when I'm looking up air fryer recipes, they are specifically for one type of air fryer, and if you try and the air fryers that are not an oven type of air fryer, it takes longer to air fry things in those air fryers than it does in an oven style air fryer, by up to 5 to 10 minutes differences between them. And the one thing, like, air fryers are great if you are in an apartment or a situation where you're responsible for your own oven, like getting your own appliances, and you cannot afford an oven. Also, if you're a wheelchair user and you cannot use an oven that is like a regular oven instead of a wall oven. I mean, who has wall ovens? They're not, unless you're rich, is basically. So they're great. The problem with is that they still pose the same issues when it comes to how much energy you have to expend cooking stuff that you're like making stuff, like preparing, having to watch over the air fryer to make sure you don't overcook it. It's not like a set it and forget it type of situation like with the Instapot. So I've been having this fun challenge of, I have lots of Instapot recipes, but I don't have enough air fryer. Yeah, they are versatile. I don't have enough air fryer recipes yet that are disability friendly. So that is my challenge. Something that I've been trying to do more mindfully is develop recipes for the air fryer that are disability friendly, so that people actually can accomplish them, so that it doesn't take too much energy making it, and you're like left wiped out for days afterwards because you've used all your spoons. So schedule May live streams. Plan with me. And I'll have to shop on this day too. Shop. Oh, that reminds me. There's something else that I know I have to do this week that I'm forgetting to put on a to-do list that I probably should be doing right now. Can I, like, do I even, you know what? No, I think I'm trying to decide my quarter one. Do I try and record it this week that I also have to do my taxes and get my 4th dose of my vaccine? And, I know what I can do right now, though. Or do I put it off to May when it's not really all that timely anymore to do a quarter one review of my planning system and talk about the things that have left and the things that have, like, what I'm no longer using and what I've replaced stuff with? I don't know. It's one of the questions that I have. Like, when does stuff stop being useful for people? Because I don't want to post. I mean, that's the thing with videos is I don't want to create a video simply to create it. I mean, like, will people still find any value in what I'm no longer using, and why? Like, because my whole reason for doing it is, like, maybe somebody's making a decision about, like, do I want to do a 5-in-year one journal? Because I've given up that idea absolutely completely. I mean, at first I thought it was because I was trying to do it on my own, to see, like, writing it out, creating the 5-in-1 journal, to see CG020, to see if it could be something I do. Like, do I have the mental capacity to, or not so much mental capacity, the time, the will, the want to write out 1 or 2 sentences a day about the overall impression for my day. And at first I thought it was because I had to. So you should create it for yourself. Those who find value would watch. See, that's where I'm kind of leaning in, is that it's interesting to see. Like, every time I look back, like, I can't wait to do the year flip. And every time I look back at, like, when I first switched to the Jibun from using the Traveler system for 5 years. I use Travelers. And like I find it really interesting, like seeing me figuring out different ways of that's not quite the one I was looking on. I'm just going to go back here. Like just the different ways of like how do I want to use the weekly layouts, and just playing with different ideas of how I'm going to fill it out, to finally coming up with a system that now works for me to figure out my time blocks, and then coming to like even the evolution of from the Tombos, which I still might go back to at some point, to the Ohuhu alcohol pens. Like I like the look of this more, but the bleeding bothers me to a great deal. Where the Tombos don't bleed, but they're a little bit too saturated in color for my liking. But it's I like being able to document like the progression, what works for me, what doesn't, having a reminder, and then if somebody can benefit from it, and they can figure out on their own if it would be something that works for their brain or their planning style, then that is great. And with that, I just realized it is time. So we should wrap this up. I can look back for my own enjoyment. So it's time to wrap things up before my battery on my camera dies. Enjoy your holiday, Anomic. And if you're not here next Saturday, then I know why. And then next Saturday, we will be right here. I'm going to be setting up May. And so, yeah, we'll be setting up our months, or you're going to journal, do whatever it is that you do when you tune in or watch this on replay. But that's the plan for next Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. GMT or British Daylight Time. Good chatting with you too, Anomic. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching on replay. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Enjoy your week. Bye.